Good evening and welcome to the Tuesday, January 10th, 2023 Tyngsborough School Committee meeting. Please be reminded that these meetings are audio and video recorded. My name is Becky Stanton and I call this meeting to order. We'll start with introductions to my left.
Hi, Nate Marino, Student Representative.
Dustine Puma.
Good evening, Joe Messina, School Business Administrator.
Mike Woodlock, Assistant Superintendent.
Anthony Tenerell.
Ryan McMahon.
Daniela Thanis.
Please rise to the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'll seek a motion to approve the December 5th, 2022 Technology Subcommittee meeting minutes, the December 13th, 2022 Policy Subcommittee meeting minutes, the December 13th, 2022 School Committee meeting minutes.
So moved.
Second.
Is there any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? That carries 5-0-0. Citizen time. Seeing none, we'll move on to correspondence. Mr. Woodlock?
Mr. Messina, you had this one, I believe.
Sure. So, the Superintendent did receive a correspondence from SEIU 888, which is the Administrative Assistants Union, with a request to start negotiations for the upcoming school year. Basically, we'll reach out to the negotiation subcommittee and work on some dates, probably not until early to mid-March, to work out some dates that we can return back to the union to see what their schedule looks like.
Very good, thank you.
You're welcome.
Moving on to personnel, we have notifications of new hires. We have Bernard Maliu, TMS second shift custodian, and Beth Korovos, a THS administrative assistant. We have notification for intent to retire for Val Dagley, TES teacher of over 16 years, and for Nora Tompkins, a TES paraprofessional with 18 years of service. Congratulations and best wishes. We also have a notification of resignation from Alinda Boradoka, THS administrative assistant of 9 years. Wishing you all the best, Ms. Boradoka. Moving on to share the success. Nate?
Yep, so at TES, the return from holiday break offers their staff the perfect opportunity to emphasize and reestablish classroom routines, expectations, and the importance of their Stripes core values. Next week, TES staff will offer virtual parent and guardian conferences. This is a great opportunity to build upon home and school connections while discussing individual student strengths and sharing social, emotional, and academic goals for the remainder of the school year. For the 9th consecutive year, TES will participate in the Great Kindness Challenge. During the week of January 23rd, the TES community will join over 30,000 schools across the country as they work to build a culture of kindness. Their student council members have planned a spirit week, and elementary school counselors have created kindness checklists for ways to spread kindness at TES. At TMS, students wrapped up the door decorating contest prior to vacation. The 4 winners all competed in a bingo contest Friday morning before the break to determine the winner of the holiday gift basket prize. The doors were well thought out, a lot of fun, and all original. The student council at TMS is currently preparing for the cardboard sled challenge prior to February vacation. Teams will create the best sled for whatever conditions this winter will bring. There will be all sorts of fun and activities and food for that day, so they're looking forward to that. The boys and girls basketball teams have had a very successful start to the year with several hard-fought victories, and teachers continue to grow their skills through professional development opportunities from Lesley University and Keys to Literacy. At the high school, the January students of the month are Christopher Cahill, Gianna DeLello, Jack Kramer, and Caden Serrano, so congratulations to all of them. Theater continues to prepare for the upcoming performance of Newsies. Tickets will be available in the coming weeks. Many of the sports teams competed in holiday tournaments over the break. Congratulations to them on their early season success as they push to qualify for postseason play. Congratulations to Jillian Perret, Dory Doherty, Caden Primo, on being selected to take part in the Youthful Visions 6th Annual Greater Lowell Regional Art Show. Artwork will be on display during the month of January at the Loading Dock Gallery in Lowell, so congratulations to all of them. Also, congratulations to the members of the class of 2023 who've been accepted to many colleges and universities so far. And then just a reminder that there will be no school next Monday, the 16th, for Martin Luther King Day, and there will also be a half-day next Wednesday, the 18th, and that's all I have.
Thanks, Nate.
Yeah, no problem.
For subcommittee updates, an update on capital asset?
Yep. So we met last Wednesday, the 4th. We started listening to presentations from different groups about requests for capital projects. We'll continue to listen to presentations next Wednesday, the 18th, and we'll start making our recommendations after that.
Great, thank you.
Madam Chair, at this time, if I could make a request to motion to take 9A and B out of order.
Is there a second?
Second?
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? That carries 500. So for 9A, we have the THS robotics program. You can step right up, have a seat at the microphones, and if you could try to speak into the microphone so that we could get it on the recording, that would be fantastic.
When you're ready, Mr. Bover, we're good to go.
All right, thank you guys for having us. These are five of our members of our team. We range, we have one senior, Yesenia, and then the rest, we have Dylan Torado, who's a junior. And then we have Sudar, sophomore, Reese Graham, sophomore, and then Thomas Collins, sophomore.
Welcome. Thank you for joining us tonight. We're excited to hear from you.
Hi, thank you for having us. So as previously mentioned, we are the Tyngsborough High School robotics team. Robotics is an after-school activity that combines programming, engineering, and strategizing to create two functional robots that compete on a game table against two other robots from an opposing team to see which robots can get the most amount of points by completing specific tasks. So every year we have learning goals, and our learning goals this year are to introduce new members to programming. We have a lot of incoming freshmen who've joined the team, and our goals are to teach them basic commands in the programming language C. And we also aim to teach problem-solving skills, which is the main skill set necessary for this competition. So the main questions that we ask every year are how can we make our game table as perfect as possible, and how can we make our robots functional? So there's a lot of work that goes into accomplishing this goal, and so we have a work distribution, and this goes into 5 main categories. The first of which is fundraising and social media, because none of this is possible without fundraising, and they organize our fundraisers and they talk about them on social media and try to get people to join the cause. We also have a strategy team. They mainly work to decide which tasks we'd like the robots to complete, because each task is worth a different amount of points, and we decide what is feasible for our robots to complete within the 2-minute time frame. We also have a hardware team, and they construct the game table and they build our robots. We have a software team that is mainly in charge of programming these robots, and they work very closely with our hardware team. And then we have a documentation team who's in charge of keeping track of everything that happens and creating a presentation that will be presented at the competition at the end of the year.
Hi, I'm Reese Graham, sophomore. So to prepare for the competition, we have to make a game table, a replica of the game table that will be used at the event. We use PVC pipe and wood to create this table. And throughout the months leading up to the competition, we have meetings right now every Monday and Wednesday, and we use them to practice and prepare for the competition and to get our path right to go through the table so we can get the most amount of points.
Hi, I'm Thomas. I'm a sophomore. So this is an example of our code that we used last year, along with one of the robots we used, which was modified after the base rules came out for building the robot. So what the code did for this robot was it looked out for the pom-pom balls, and it moved the arm up and down and opened and closed it. And so for building the robot, this is an example of one that I built. What it does is we follow the basic plan that they gave out to us, and we follow it, and once the rules come out, we modify it to be able to complete certain tasks for the game. And the hardware team will build it, and once it's completed, the software team will engineer a code that is able to complete certain tasks.
Hi, I'm Dylan Torado. I'm a junior. So obviously all of it's fun and games, but it all comes down to the one ball competition. And this year it's going to be Saturday, May 6th. But so in the past it's been hosted at UMass Lowell, but last year we had the opportunity to host it right here at our school. And everything went great. We ended up coming in 4th place, I believe. So, but now we have the pleasure of hosting it again this year and hopefully in the future. So, and as a stipend of getting to host it here, we got all the entry fees and everything covered for free. So that's great, and it gets to bring awareness to our program here. So that really has made a big impact on us. But so for this competition, it's about 15 to 20 high schools from the local area, and they all come here. And we have a bunch of those model tables set up. I think it's gonna be in the library this year. In the past, it was in the gym.
The workshop will be in the library, the competition.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so it's going to be spread out throughout the school, but it's the exact model of the table. And each year there's a different theme on what the competition. It's the same basic concept, but this year the theme is like cybersecurity. So the robot has to roam around the table, which is like their data center, and they have to pick up the pieces which they want to bring to a different area to get points. And you can bring, there's in the center of the table, there's a robot stuffed animal on the top that you can grab for more points. So you really have to centralize your strategy about what you think can be the best, and it really helps everyone determine their critical thinking and all that. So, yeah.
I'm Sudar. I'm a sophomore. So some accomplishments we've had in the past years with robotics is in 2018 we were 3rd place. In 2022 we were 4th place. In 2022, we also had the best T-shirt design, and in 2019, we had the best documentation. So robots and the parts to build the table and build the robots themselves can cost a lot, and we have to fundraise most of the money ourselves. So some of the stuff we've done in the previous years are the popcorn fundraiser, a bot ball dance, and we also a company called Teradyne. Also sponsored us for the past 2 years and in 2017. So to make people aware of our club, it's spread through the word of mouth, social media, and sometimes in THS morning announcements.
This is great. Thank you so much for coming. I have a question. This is closely related to engineering. How many of you think you're going into the engineering field after you leave school? Most of you? Some of you? That's great. Any other questions?
Oh, yeah.
Comments? Yeah?
I'm an engineer. So what language did you program the code in?
In C.
It's in C?
Yeah, it's like an adaptation of C. But.
Okay, did you guys learn that here?
Mm-hmm. Well, so there's no. I guess there is a coding class, but we've had a few students in the past who've been really good, and they've helped to share that with everybody else. But now they just graduated, so it's kind of that's our main objective, to get everyone most of the people to learn code, so it's not all centered on one person.
Okay. How are you running the code? Are you using a Raspberry Pi, Arduino, something?
I think it's doing a
So we have there's a little computer on there that we use that we program through. It's like a Raspberry Pi.
Okay.
And so we have at the workshop every year they'll come in, and so if there's anyone new who has no programming experience, they kind of teach them the basics, and there's a big slideshow presentation that they give to all the teams. So at least teach them the beginning commands to get the robot to move forward and back and left and right, and then the students end up playing around with different parameters to get it to turn and then lift the arm a little bit, and then it's they have a lot of building block code for them to build off, and that's kind of how kids have learned in the past. So anyone who's new usually gets up and running after the workshop, so.
Okay. And I have 2 questions I want to hear from each of you. What was your biggest challenge since you joined this club, and the biggest lesson you've learned?
All right, I'll start off. I think the biggest challenge is kind of just like adapting to like being able to think outside of what you initially like want to do, because what you want to do often does not work the first time. And with this, like we're using Legos and metal pieces, so stuff falls apart, stuff breaks, doesn't work as you think. I think that's the biggest challenge, getting over that. And what was the second question? I'm sorry.
Biggest lesson learned, biggest takeaway.
I think in the same category, you just got to keep trying, keep changing. Don't be afraid to change your idea.
Yeah, I'm mainly in charge of documentation, and certainly my biggest challenge has been keeping track of each group and making sure that they're communicating with each other so that everyone is aware of the deadlines, and that that we all have to work together as a team, and it's not all on one group to accomplish a task. We all have to talk to each other, else it's just not going to get done. And so I'd say the biggest lesson that I've learned is that, during a conflict, the most important thing is to hear both sides and come to a median conclusion that satisfies everyone.
I'd say the biggest challenge I've had is figuring out how to communicate between the hardware and the software fields, trying to figure out what they want built for their code and what code works for what we build. And I think the best thing I've learned is that when you hit a problem in the road, that sometimes you have to be a little creative with what you're thinking about to come up with a solution that'll work.
The hardest thing I've had to learn is that failure is a big part in this. So you're not always going to get it correct. Sometimes you may think you have it perfect and then it doesn't work, but you have to keep trying. And the lesson, or the biggest lesson that I've had is that you gotta work as a team. You can't do everything by yourself. You gotta work as a team and listen to others.
So the biggest challenge that I think that we've had last year, I remember last year after we built our table, we programmed our robot to work on just our table. And by the time we went to the competition, we realized that we made a small error in our table. So our robot just went crazy. It didn't do the stuff we wanted to do. So I think that what we've learned from that, just to make sure to double check everything and make sure
So when I'm hiring people for my team, those are things I'm looking for: communication, perseverance, attention to details, working as a team. So I think these are great lessons. It's going to serve you all very well. I think at some point, Mr. Bover, I'd like to come, see this, get a closer look.
Yeah, I'll let you know when we get in a little bit and have the table built, and then you're able to see, and we have a couple robots built. It'd be better to kind of come by and see, but I'll definitely let you know when we're doing that.
Excellent. Great job, guys.
Thanks.
Thanks for joining us.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
I think next we have the group from the Give Kids the World presentation. Go ahead, Ms. Trainer.
Hi, how are you? For those of you that don't know me, I'm Kate Trainer, the assistant principal here at the high school. In about a couple of seconds, I'm going to turn the floor over to Millie and to Jenna and Christos and Ashlyn and June, who are going to tell you about the service trip that we took last month to Give Kids the World Village. But first, I just want to take a second to talk about how incredibly proud I am of all of the students that went down to volunteer for the week. Numerous times while we were volunteering, we had Give Kids the World employees, long-term volunteers, as well as Wish family parents that took the time to come up and seek out myself and Mrs. Ward, the other counselor, to see if these guys were with us, to tell us how amazing that they were doing and how how hard that they were working and how their work was making their trips so much more memorable. Watching these guys interact with the families. I had a hard time sometimes focusing because I was just so proud of watching them interact with the families with ease. And it was just an amazing trip. And I can't say enough how proud I am of all of them. But enough from me. Millie, may I turn it over to you?
Hi, my name is Millie Keeney, and I'm a senior here. And I'm just going to tell you a little bit about the village and what it is. So the Give Kids the World Village is a place where Make-A-Wish Foundation kids, if they want to go to Disney World, they are offered a villa at the village. So the village itself is, I believe, 64 acres, and it has 84 acres, has a lot of villas. And children go there, and there's activities, and then they will then proceed and go to Disney and Universal. And it's a really great place. Instead of a hotel, they have services in place where these kids who are disabled or have chronic illnesses really can be helped, and they're really cared for there. And it's mainly run off volunteers like us. So we just went and we helped out, and we got to see them all. And they also have activities throughout the villa that we helped with, which you're going to hear about in a minute.
Hello, I'm June Hooley, and I'm also a senior here. So the trip was from December 11th to the 16th. There was 20 students and 2 chaperones, Mrs. Trainer and Mrs. Ward. So we worked 6 shifts over the course of 4 days. So in total, that's like 20 plus hours of volunteer work. We worked like many different types of shifts, including Cafe Clayton, where you could be like the salad like bar, you could like help them serve, and then or you could do the trays where you help them with their trays and like go to each side of like picking up food and like bring it to their table. You could also do the carousel operator, where like you just operate the carousel and you just watch them ride. One memory I have from Give Kids a World was when I was the carousel operator, like one of the girls like came by and she gave me a bracelet and it just said like thank you. So that was sweet.
A memory I have from volunteering at Give Kids a World was one night this mother, they were at the cafe, which like they all eat at. She had a baby and like her Make-A-Wish kid, and she was like very stressed out, like on the verge of like tears. You guys saw her. And then we just like took care of the baby, and it was like the simplest task, but like it completely flipped their night around. They were like so happy and like thanked us, and the mom was like crying, all thankful. So it was very fun.
Hi, I'm Ashlyn. I'm a senior, and back in 2007, I was a Make-A-Wish kid, and being able to go back and volunteer meant a lot to me. To be able to work with the families and kind of like, there was one woman that I got to talk to for a little bit about like what was happening, like what was going on. That really meant a lot to me.
So I just want to say thank you to the school board committee and central office administration for approving this trip. I know as a junior myself, I'm hoping it runs again because it truly was one of the best weeks of my life. So I hope I get the privilege to go again, and thank all you guys for everything you guys did.
Thanks for coming and presenting to us. I think we've heard about Give Kids the World for a while now, but it's great to hear it straight from you guys. You all put a little bit of a tear in my eye. It was really great to hear your experiences. Does anybody have any questions?
Just more of a comment. I hosted Achille, who went on the trip with you, from Milan, Italy, and they don't have Make-A-Wish in Italy. So this trip to him was incredible. He absolutely loved it, and he would hope to someday start some sort of a Make-A-Wish program in Italy. And if you ever got a chance to really get to know him, he'll make that happen. There's no question in my mind. But my daughter also attended this a few years back before she graduated. And you can also volunteer just as a regular person. If you go to Disney World for a week on vacation, you can volunteer to work at one of these locations. And it's just amazing. So thank you guys for going and doing what you did. It's incredible.
Both of my girls also have been able to go. Sam went with you guys. And just the stories that they've shared and the experiences that they've had, I'm just so thankful that you guys had such a positive time and we were able to make it happen for you.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Moving on to unfinished business, I'll hand it over to you, Mr. Woodlock, for the teaching and learning update.
Wonderful, thank you. So I guess what we typically start with is just mentioning the upcoming meetings that we have. Tomorrow, we have a middle school building committee, and this is going to be the next every 2 weeks for the next month and a half or so, we'll be having these. So there'll be plenty of updates to come in that respect as well. So we're on more of a regular pattern now than before the break. So as we move on, just to mention our true north, as we typically do, that we value all people in our school community. We're committed to continuous growth. This is a topic that I had the opportunity to talk to a lot of our content leaders about. I met with all of our content leaders over the month of December. Instead of having a big group meeting, met individually and really got a chance to dig down deep and talk about, how it's received and so forth. So we got a lot of really positive feedback. Not that folks didn't like, our mission statement or our theory of action or anything like that, but kind of boiling it down to a kind of less is more. What's really important here in Tyngsborough? And so a lot of really quality feedback from the staff. So that was good to hear on our end. A bit of a teaching and learning update. I asked our building administrators to kind of dig down and give some opportunities to celebrate some of the work that's happening in our buildings. And I asked them to focus on our SDI 1.1, which is ensure all students will have multi-tiered educational experiences focused on individual, social, emotional, and academic growth. And I got a host of different opportunities to share. So there'll be more as we go down the road, but for today we're just sharing a few. And at actually, this is a little misprint here. I should say TES, so that's on me. But Kathy Cook and Marla Lundquist, who are occupational therapists at the elementary school, have been working to kind of revamp the handwriting curriculum that's there. And I think this is just great to celebrate some of our specialists, because so often, and rightly so, we celebrate our teachers all the time, but our specialists do so much work kind of behind the scenes to make things so much smoother in the classrooms. And so they've taken a lot of time to really revamp and provide options for students, because motor skills at the elementary school, especially at the lower levels, are so important to get the handwriting and make it such a kind of, what's the word? I think it's in here, so sorry, bear with me. The kinesthetic learning, that's what I was trying to think of. So that aspect of learning can sometimes be overlooked. And without that, everything else doesn't move quite as quickly. When kids are constantly struggling to get the handwriting part down, they can't move on to other things so quickly. So that's a huge part that can easily be overlooked. And so they provided more options for students to get where they need to be more quickly. And if we move to the next, at the middle school, Caitlin Tevepaw was highlighted as someone that's really taken the lead as we're making adjustments to our math curriculum. For those of you that may not have met or had a student in Mrs. Tevepaw's class, she is literally one of the best math teachers I've ever had the pleasure to watch. Just the nature of how she creates a comfortable classroom for everyone, but really, and it's focused here, the student-centered nature of what she does is a huge part of why she's being celebrated. She's taken the lead here, and she's really been a model of how to effectively utilize and work with a co-teacher, because Greg Costa works with her in many of her classes, special education teacher, and really utilizing that co-teacher and working together has been a real great example for all of the staff at TMS. And at THS, Denise Hamilton, who is a science teacher, and specifically, I know Mr. Ogden and Ms. Trainer were so impressed with how she's kind of taken an innovator role in trying to bring more and more inclusive practices into her classroom, even though it's not an expectation for us this year. We're really just trying to inform teachers. She's ran with it, and she took and revamped an entire anatomy unit to provide choice in how students will, approach an activity, which used to be just a kind of a one-size-fits-all way to do it. A lot of kids really loved it, but then she gave them more choices, allowed them to work individually or with partners if they chose to. Even got down to like classroom atmosphere with like, well, we're going to be doing this. It's kind of a long activity for the day. Let's play some music. What music choices do we want to listen to? And just creating an environment where students were having some choice and some voice in what they were doing and a comfortable place to learn. So thank you to those teachers and that school staff that have really made an impact in reaching this district goal. So as far as MSBA update is the next on my list, and a lot has been happening and things are going to be ramping up as we move into January. So I provided a list of things that are happening or have happened since our last meeting, and a lot of that is really just kind of facilitating the actions that are going to take place in upcoming months. And so as we move into January, you're going to actually start seeing things. We expect that fencing will be going up in the next few weeks. We're going to see that. Tree removal for the outer rim road that's going to be eventually put in there is going to be happening. There's already been work done on the bridge to secure that and kind of cut that part of the bridge that connects, for those that may not know, the middle school to the gym, which will be the first to go through abatement and demolition. And so a lot of work has been done there that you're not seeing, but within the next 4 to 6 weeks, we're going to start seeing things around here. And I know that with Left Field, JCJ, Fontaine Construction, they will be here at our next school committee meeting, and so we asked them to come, and they're all going to be here. Tonight, I think that Left Field and JCJ are at the Conservation Committee, finalizing things with them and tying up all the loose ends that need to be completed before these operations can begin. So again, if there are questions, they'll be here next week, but we're going to start seeing some things around campus pretty soon.
And I guess if the committee wants to see anything specific from Left Field and JCJ and Fontaine when they're here for their presentation, if you can let us know probably by Tuesday of next week so that they have time to prepare.
I think a large portion of what they have already set to go revolved around some of the information that we shared at the previous meeting in December, which there were rightfully so questions about and wanting to have answers that maybe, us as building and district administrators probably can't answer as well as the experts. So, but they'll be happy to answer anything else that we have regarding the project. They've been really great to work with and impressive, honestly. Mm-hmm. And so we have a building committee tomorrow night as well.
Yep. All right. Are there any questions, comments for Mr. Woodlock? All right. Mr. Messina, Finance.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So for signing of bills tonight, there were 12 bill warrants presented to the committee. I do have them all back approved. In your drive, as always, is the list of warrant numbers, accounts, and amounts. For signing of payroll, 2 payrolls since the last time we reviewed. The payroll of December 19th, as well as the payroll of January 2nd. And again, warrant numbers, accounts, and amounts are in your drive. And under other, I would just remind the Budget Subcommittee that we do have a meeting scheduled in this room next Tuesday on the off week at 6:30.
Great.
That's it.
Thank you. School committee discussion. Nate?
Nothing at this time, thank you.
Justine?
I think you said that Mrs. Dagley from the elementary school is retiring. I just want to thank her for her years in Tyngsborough, as my daughter had her as a freshman, and then when Maya was a senior doing work for her internships, she went into her classroom, and she's just a phenomenal teacher, and I'm just so happy we had her for as long as we did, and I just want to wish her well wishes in her retirement. And that's it.
Mr. Messina?
I'm all set. Thank you.
Danielle?
I just want to thank again the kids that came in tonight to talk about the robotics club and kids give kids the world. It is just amazing to see what our kids are doing out there. That's why we do what we do. So just good work. Keep it up. Thank you for sharing with us. We love to hear from you. And I will be playing that for my Lego League robotic son tomorrow when this posts, because I think it would be cool for the kids that are doing robotics at the lower levels to see what they can do once they hit high school. So.
Right?
Yeah, I want to thank Mr. Bovier, the Robotics Club, and then Mrs. Trainer and Give the Kids the World crew. It's two completely different activities, yet both groups of kids are learning lifelong lessons that are going to serve them moving forward. So I think it's great that no matter what you're into and what your interests are, we have opportunities for these kids to work together and, kind of learn the bigger picture about life.
I would echo their comments and just thank them for coming in and taking the time to share their stories with us. The robotics competition, I believe, was May 6th.
Yep.
If you've never been to one, they're actually pretty cool. I've been to a couple of them, and because we're now hosting them, which is even cooler, anybody gets the opportunity to come in and see it, please do support them. That is it. Thank you.
Mr. Woodlock?
Yeah, it was great to see our robotics students and our Give Kids the World volunteers here. Just a special thank you to the advisors of those programs. There's a ton of work that goes on behind the scenes to make this possible for our kids. And, I mean, let's face it, as far as dollars per hour, they're probably not getting paid very well. So they do it out of the kindness in their heart and the love of working with kids. And I don't think Mrs. Trainer and Mrs. Ward got paid at all for any of that. And there's a lot of work that goes into, including Mr. Ogden, to set that trip up. And so I just want to thank them for making those opportunities possible for their students.
You took the words out of my mouth there. I was going to
Sorry
say
about
that. No,
that.
that's all right. Our students do wonderful things, and we have these great clubs and these great programs for our students, the extracurricular programs, but they wouldn't be possible without our advisors. So a huge thank you to our advisors, the advisors that were here tonight, the advisors that are, the unsung heroes that we're not seeing in the background for all the different programs from elementary, middle school, and high school. We wouldn't be able to offer the programming that we can offer our students without these advisors. So a huge thank you to them and all my appreciation for that. With that, we do not have need for executive session, and so I'll seek a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? That carries 5-0-0. We're adjourned. Thank you.